past the 7, a little bit late. I said, what time you get down there? It's about 5:30, 6. I said, it's busy. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So this is Tim Shell, folks. So Tim's going to let you know not only, for instance, as we're going through here, he's also going to point out some of the improvements some of the things that have been done as part of the negotiation, but also some of the things that we intend to do as part of the negotiation and with the additional monies that we would need to borrow. So, yeah, it's all yours.
Well, thanks everybody for coming down. As you can tell, this would be our lobby. We have a couple offices over here. There's a conference room, working restrooms. And part of the project, all the windows around the front is included with the purchase. The current owner's taking care of that. Pretty much in here. You guys want to poke around here a minute?
What about the painting, Tim, and some of the cosmetics?
Yeah, the painting in here, the offices, the lunchroom. I can't remember if that was the locker rooms too.
Yep, locker rooms are being done, and I believe there's conference space in the back that's being done, included in it. Pretty much everything that was common area, considered common area, was being taken care of.
And that includes some of the plumbing fixes from the
Plumbing repairs we'll get to when we get to the back, and pretty much anything that was going to be a visible leak and charging everything. Floors were not included as part of the original estimate, but only in this area, it's basically just a light tile over concrete. So this could come up relatively quickly. It could probably clean up relatively quickly, or carpet, or whatever. I mean,
We're pretty confident. We looked at that. We're pretty confident that for this we could really clean this up well. Have it professionally clean. We think it could clean up pretty well. We would include that.
Okay. Kitchen sink. And just that, when we're plowing around the clock, it'd be nice to have a decent area to come take a break and eat dinner or whatever.
Keith, this is where all the matching furniture is.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, no, that'd probably be Park and Rec's office over there. As you can see, it's pretty big. Pretty big. This end would be where the DPW would set up in here.
I don't know if it's receptionist, bathrooms, everything else. You'll see yeah, I didn't understand that.
Overhead. I would put one right here where these two fans are. There will be one big one there. And then there's a couple already on the back. And when we get down the other end to the other areas, I'll show you where the other one would be.
So Tim, you were saying, what would this end be?
This would be the DPW and the highway park, basically the park and rec. I would give the cemetery over there in the corner, because there's actually a door to get outside at the loading dock. It's ground level, where they could go out back through. There's going to be a road put in the back, so that would allow them to drive the riding lawnmowers right to the cemetery. We're going to put a sandblast booth in, a paint booth in, so we can keep up with this equipment. Got a great loading dock out there, dispatcher's office.
What is that from the ceiling?
That glue?
No, I think that's stalactites, basically. This, before they put the roof on it, and I guess this was pretty heavy in condensation in here all the time. So that's all minerals but that's all going to be blasted off there and painted.
Everything would be a fresh coat?
Pretty much everything will have a fresh coat when we're done, yeah. Then,
Is that on the city or is that on?
that's on the city, that's part of ours. So these yellow bridges over here, we asked them to leave them so we could repurpose them. Basically, I'm going to take those and cut them down and make racks to put our sanders and stuff on in the room out and back. Plows and all kinds of equipment that we need up off the ground. The stuff's here.
Remind us of the square footage.
What's that?
83,000.
About 83,000 total.
Ben,
Sorry.
you want to mention the overhead crane too?
Yeah, I'll take it, yeah. Yeah. So as you can see, there's an overhead crane in here. This area here would be my mechanics area. I'd have a lift probably on that side, a couple of lifts probably, and we would set them up here. Somewhere beyond that pit right there would be a wall up there for kind of cold storage areas, parking areas that we wouldn't have to heat fully. Like this area, we would want to heat, to 65 degrees, because people being here working. But where we're going to park trucks and stuff, we could keep that at, 45 degrees. This room here, this would be our cold storage area. This is where we put up pretty much everything you saw down the salt shed the other night would be in here. The plows, the sanders. We got stuff spread out all over the place that we could actually put in here. This would be cold storage. As you can see, there's cranes overhead. So we drive the truck in, we pick the sander up or the plow, pick it up, set it right on the truck or in front of the truck, hook up, and go out of here.
All workable?
They all work.
Where are you putting the overheads in here?
They all function.
Overhead doors?
We're not coming in that way right there. There's a ramp right there.
Your truck, we're gonna fit through that?
Come through.
Any salt and sand down on the corner?
That'll be on back. In there is a boiler room. A little tough to get in there right now. If you want to go down the stairs over here and poke your head in there, that's fine. Then there's an electrical over the back there. This would be all cold storage for equipment. Plenty of room here. Also, like, we get water mains, hydrants, big fit in, things like that. Right now they're outside. A couple years ago, we had 10 feet of snow. We pipe it, goes back in one by everything. So everything's in here. Could actually put, we can put, there's enough room in here, I can put gravel, sand, a lot of stuff in here. Doesn't material. There's plenty of room to do.
Just keeps going and going.
Late 90s for how one was and everything else. Yep.
2012 was the roof. 56,000. It's all in my truck. I'm going to go back to the council meeting and give you all the paperwork. I think it begins with a V, Visicon or something like that. But it's a 15-year warranty, guaranteed, all defects, manual labor and everything. So
And it passes through to the next purchase.
it would pass through. Yeah. Yep. It goes with the roof and the building. That would be owned. 2012.
little bigger than the water department now.
Yes, we'd wall off half of this, half would be water department, small part storage.
Hey, so you wouldn't have to park your trucks in here?
Huh?
You wouldn't have to park your trucks in here?
No, they would be out there.
One stadium, I'd rather go there than Green Bay.
And then this room back here would be for the water department also.
Especially with all the
It's nice about it, set up with shelves and stuff, you know, we have water meters, hundreds of them, and we have to, calibrate them, rotate them in stock, so. we have plenty of-
Heck, you'll be able to transfer phone calls around the department.
Yes. And there's an office here. There's an office here and an office on the other side of the wall here for the water department. Right now, there's basically 3 people sharing the one office over there for the water department.
No, 1 year. Very stay.
What's that? No pigeons.
bring them over.
Is this all heating?
Huh?
Is that heat?
What's that?
What is this thing? They're just electric?
Bus? It's electric.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where's the heat?
There's well, the boilers are in the back, and there's kicker units all over.
Okay.
We would. Yeah. Air compressor in there. That stays. That's a new air compressor. So that supply shop air to the whole plant basically. That was put in last year, I think.
I can see why if this plant was operating, they'd want a solar array out back. 480.
Yeah. Well, we would convert most of that to 208, a couple of transformers. But we don't really, it's like a 6,000 amp service. We don't So these areas down here, basically we'd wall this off from this wall down to that red post down here and across, split it down the middle. Fire and alarm would be in here and the building department would be in here. At this whole corner of the building. Also, they would have, when we go in here, this training room, that would be part of theirs for their employees.
You mean building department at the city hall?
No, Windsor Mill.
Windsor Mill.
Windsor Mill?
Yeah.
Which we didn't see that.
And there would be an overhead door in there and an overhead door here. 'Cause, the wire and alarm has generator. They'll probably park the command vehicle, police fire command vehicle down here, plus the bucket truck. And there's offices and things in here that
And the
they
big,
can utilize.
really big dump cloud things we're gonna be able to get in here.
Yes. So here, storage room. This was, they use it as a training area. But this would go to building and wire and alarm, office space, break room, restrooms.
Geez, you can hold one. Hey, Tim.
And then there's, yes, pretty much. And then there's a couple of offices.
Oh, that's the best of those classes here.
There you go. That's one of the other issues. You can't hold, you don't have room for.
You guys have,
city
yeah,
hall.
I mean, it'd be nice to have them in North County too.
Have them here, I can have them in the big room in front.
Wow.
All this be cleaned up or renovated at all, or?
I think they're gonna paint in here. Paint. That's pretty much it.
What about the furniture?
That all.
Whoa, what about the furniture?
That's what I meant. I mean.
This is.
So what they were
I
saying
have
in the other
no
building,
idea.
this is better than high
That's
quality.
right, it's better than the cheap up on
Actually,
top
I
of this.
have in my budget
Uh-huh.
for the renovation furniture.
Plus, it will be the only,
Not only that, we scoped out Sullivan School and there's stuff we could probably,
Ah, there
there's
it is.
stackable chairs in there that you're just gonna
Plus,
get.
these will be the first two matching chairs DPW.
Never happened.
There's kitchen things up there too, so you can set up a full kitchen.
So there's a big cement pile back there.
Yes. Yes. So, this area and the area in the back, this would be the replacement for my salt shed. So I keep my salt back there and my sand up here. Trucks can get in, we can load them, plenty of room to maneuver in here.
What was doing that blue thing?
Now, salt does a
That's
job,
coming out of here.
salt does a job on concrete. Does it have to be,
This would be sealed.
okay.
What's here, Tim?
This would be the salt and sand there. The salt would go in there, and the sand would go in here. But if we'll go in here to the taller area, you can see it a little better.
Is it just sealed with a coating?
Yes. Yes. This area was all full of these huge tanks. Part of the negotiations was to remove them. Same with the other area here. There was a real lot of equipment when we came down and looked at it. And we told them we didn't want it here, so they were able to take everything out.
Is that just where the water goes?
That's, yeah, right now, that's gonna actually be filled in. That'll be filled in. All these troughs will be filled in.
What's this, Tim?
That area, it's kinda not sure yet what that's gonna be. This big,
Holding tank.
Done? There's
this big tank here, the clarifier, is actually getting demoed. They're taking care of that. So that'll be demoed and be trucked for concrete. What we wanna do in here, yes, what we wanna do here is, where Tammy's standing over there on that wall, is put a large overhead door that goes almost to the ceiling. So when we have this, we had the discussion the other day about the trailers can't dump in the salt shed. This is high enough, they come right here and go right up without a problem. So the other thing we would do is, part of our renovation would be all the steel beams are gonna come in, sandblast it, rust treat it, and then epoxy it. And then we're gonna put concrete push walls up, about 8 feet all the way around. So you don't have to worry about the loader when you're scooping up salt through the wall. Those types of things.
Well, some of these projects, like I said, are basically, some of the money, obviously, most of the money on the 350 is really to make this manufacturing plant into a DPW. To retrofit it for that. When Tim's talking about push walls and overhead, the huge bay doors and everything, I mean, that's what it's for, is to make this place usable for our purposes.
Like this will be.
Keith was trying to pin down, I think he did the other day, where the solar's going, but it's going right there, correct? Right back
On the other side of these trees is the big field. If you go up to the cemetery in the back corner, you can look down over the field.
Yeah.
That's where the solar is going.
Is that wetlands in there?
Yes, they're high
Is
pillars.
that wetlands?
No, it's not wetlands there. There's some wetlands over here, in between here and where we want to do the cemetery expansion. Where we were going to put it was outside the buffer zone, so we should be in good shape there. It's small wetlands here. On this side along the river, there's a lot of wetlands.
Yeah.
There's 30 acres with this, and there's quite a bit of it you really don't want to touch. We wouldn't anyways. We want to preserve it. But and this here is above the floodplain right here. So I know one of the questions was if we get flooded out with the salt and things. I mean, you're 6 foot above the road over there, and then it's another drop off to the next part of the land, and the river is beyond that.
Now, I don't remember hearing, but you may know anecdotally, you may know too. Did this take any water up through here during Sandy or Irene, as far as you know?
John, where's John?
John Bardot.
corner of the road they had a lot of.
He's the guy that's gonna know.
Well, the
'cause he
the
was
road
the
got
manager.
wet because the culvert plugged up. Tree
Right,
come
but I
down,
don't-
went right over it, so it came over
But
the
I
top.
don't, we got a lot of phone calls, we didn't get any calls.
There was
from water.
nothing down here. The only thing we had was,
Huh?
We never had floods here.
Yeah, okay. Even with Irene and,
I wasn't here for Irene.
the Sandy?
No.
I don't recall any,
No, it was-
you know, we got a lot
was
of
never a
calls
water
in, but we
problem
didn't
here.
get anything from here, not that much.
I mean, most of the flooding that happens down here happens in Lake
Oh,
McCann
yeah,
over there, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
We never had a problem with water back here.
Road, and on this side of that telephone pole, our sewer main runs through there. It's a 24-inch main that runs through there, cuts across the field, and it runs down the edge of the field, back towards the back corner, and then down along the railroad tracks, all the way into basically by it's the bank down there.
Yeah. Landmark?
Landmark comes, it pretty much stops there and then diverts off. But it's a 24-inch main that we have an easement through there already. Okay. That was all part of negotiations. There was a lot of industrial equipment here that was just going to get left here. And part of negotiations was to have them remove it.
Is any of this to be used? Yeah.
Some of it we'll probably use like 2 banks because all the cranes are tied into that. Most of it would be mothballed. This is the main switch gear coming in. We would probably shut half of that down and use half of it, refeed the other end. Like I said, all this 480 we don't need it all. And most of our equipment's all 208. Basically, part of that renovation plan would be to put in some transformers and knock it down to 208.
You gonna have a generator here too?
That would be the plan at some point, but that's not in the budget right now for that.
Was there a cost associated with all of the work that the seller was doing? Like the removal of this heavy equipment?
Well, I'm sure they had a cost of it. We didn't care about what the cost was. We
but-
just wanted to go.
But if there is a cost associated with that, it'd be helpful to know just because that's something that we
Yeah.
would have taken on as the buyer, but if the seller provided it, if there's just a cost associated with that, that would be helpful.
The big room with the cranes right behind us here, those are all, that whole room was nothing but stainless steel tanks from wall to wall. And part of that was they removed all that also. So I'm sure we can get costs
I
for
think
it.
it'd be helpful
Yeah.
to know because
You should be able
typically
to do that.
I got it.
you'd be buying the building as is.
Yeah.
So to know like when you talk about the cost that we were going to put into it, but what was the cost associated?
These are gas boilers.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, well, I think that one was an oil, because there used to be an oil tank, external oil tank, which they took out of it also. But these boilers are, not only were they used to heat the place, they were used for process water and things like that. So we're not gonna use these to that capacity. If we use them at all, I don't believe we'll use them at all.
just too big for what you
Just
need?
too big, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for us, we probably would, and part of the negotiation was that these are both supposed to be in working order. One there was an issue with, and am I correct on that one?
O'Connell's gonna come and tell us what, if it makes sense, it's got a redundancy factor to it, so they're both doing the same job, is basically what it does. One goes down, the other one can come on, same thing on the other side.
So
One's
will
more
we sell 'em?
efficient, they can go
So we'll
down.
probably mothball them for now, but, if we need one at a school, it's sitting here. These would do at school, no problem. But, or we'd sell them. What's that? Okay. Big overhead door would be, so that salt trailers can come around, pull up, back right in here, dump, and then go right out and around.
So those are your road.
And these would be utilized, Tim? These overhead doors?
That's the area I wanted to go into next.
Can you repurpose this door, or is this door just?
I'll probably just block it off and probably could use it somewhere else.
Replace half the roof on the barn before we usually finalize things, because we have the requirement.
it worked out, but.
For today, and then they were at the volleyball thing.
So this area here is probably the only area I really don't know what we're gonna do in here. We kinda kicked around a, maybe a truck wash or something in here. But outside of that, more cold storage or. Part of the negotiating all these windows and fiberglass panels on the whole entire front of the building are all gonna be brand new. They'll all be new windows in here.
Have to be in working order when it's handed over.
Yes.
I wonder why it would have been done this way in the first place. What's the advantage of these kind of?
I don't know, way back when in the sixties and seventies, they used that a
Trendy.
lot, swimming pool areas and
just-
things like
just
that.
for
Paneling and shag
appearance?
rugs
Yeah.
and
It keeps
frosted
the, lets
windows.
light in,
And
but
it
it
just
keeps
looks
the
cool,
sun
yeah.
out, basically.
I think it's also frosted glass for the privacy of the bathroom.
Yeah, I noticed in the offices too, so it's cute.
Men and women. Last year we had a woman, young woman that worked for us, she did a great job. But it's like, you see the bathroom down there, it's like, knock on it, they yell anybody in there, and, you go in and.
It's kind of like the old Mohawk.